Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an episode of Career Mode. And yesterday you guys seemed to really enjoy the episode, so I'm back with another episode today. And we actually have the Manchester United and Manchester City game that me and Toby are going to go watch in the pub soon. So I'm just going to quickly do this commentary, and hopefully you guys can, maybe you're watching this at halftime or after the game, or maybe even just before the game. But we have actually, I think we play Man City sometime during this, or maybe it's Chelsea, I'm not too sure. Either way, regardless, we have some big games coming up. And if you guys don't know, I am actually already undefeated in the Premier League so far. And we're already coming up to, I think, we're in December at the moment. And by the way, I forgot, guys, it's actually Spurs and Chelsea that I played this game. And those are two teams that are actually going to be really challenging me for my title. Because at the end of the day, guys, this season, we really want to challenge for that Premier League title. We've had an absolutely outstanding start to the season. We've picked up wins, draws, but, you know, fortunately, we just haven't lost a game yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two games go, because they are against two of the strongest teams in the league. The result of both of these games should really be able to give us a sort of idea about how we're actually doing in the league. Maybe we've just come up against teams that have had a poor run of games, or maybe we've just come up against easy teams. So this was really actually two important games for me to really benchmark how my team is doing. So we have Sturridge at the moment, who's an 87 rated player. Aubameyang 86 now, I think he's up to, which is impressive. I'm not entirely too sure what's going to happen this January transfer window. I'm going to tell you guys some players that I wouldn't mind if they left the club or anything. I don't want to sound as if, you know, I am 100% getting rid of these players, but so the first one might actually be President Obama, for the reason that, you know, he's good, but him and Sturridge are just way too similar. Yes, they're both fantastic individually, but I feel as though as a partnership, they were doing okay, but now they just are such similar players. You know, they both have a decent height on them, both quite strong, both got very similar pace, very similar finishing abilities, and they don't, you know, they don't bring unique things to the table. They both have very much the same skills and abilities to, you know, that they bring to the table. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do about that. Maybe I will just hold on to both of them, because to be honest with you, they haven't been performing badly or poorly, but I just feel as though if I went for another striker, they could bring something else to the table. But like I said, you know, these are just things I'm thinking about, and if you guys would like to, you know, pitch in any sort of idea in the comments, that is always very much appreciated. So the next player I'm kind of thinking about possibly swapping out in the transfer window is in fact Alex Sandro. He's my left back, and at the moment he's an 81 rated player. I remember we picked him up, I think he was a 79 rated player, and you know, he's come along a fair way. He hasn't come along greatly, but I'm just not seeing him do that well in games. You know, he's been playing alright. I suppose he does his job, but he really hasn't become this sort of a staple player that I'm really excited to play on the team. You know, I can see Kyle Walker. I've only had him for not that long at all, and he's really become an impressive player for me. I do not know how that player missed that open goal. I believe there's another opportunity that Adebayor gets in this game as well, and he completely fluffs it up. You would have sworn something fishy's going on, but I promise you, I did not pay the Tottenham players whatsoever. They just had a bit of a mare when it came to finishing. But I made a substitution. Unfortunately, Munayan isn't out of injury, so I actually had to bring, what'd you call it? I had to bring Oxlade-Chamberlain on for Coutinho to play that attacking midfield role. And that last clip there, that's exactly what I was talking about when I come to that poor finishing ability. Unfortunately, Sturridge there wasn't able to bury that on his right foot. He turned the defender pretty nicely, but the defender actually did a good job of just kind of making sure he didn't get a clean shot off. As you can see, he kind of tumbled away afterwards. But some substitutions needed to be made, and they were quite late substitutions. It was just mainly because I noticed everyone was literally dead on the team. The Ox, though, really late into the game, in the 88th minute, he scores the goal that makes the difference. You know, we went 1-0 up. I was so happy with that, and it was just a matter of me having to wait to shut out this game. It was only 1 minute extra time, but some really good fancy footwork, and I threw away 3 points just like, or I threw away 2 points just like that, as it ends up being a tie. It ends up being 1-1. I have to admit, you know, I was a little bit disappointed I threw away those extra 2 points I could have picked up. A really late chance there from Sturridge, but that was all to be had. End up being 1-1. It was an away game at White Hart Lane, so you know, it's not all that bad, and I know Tottenham are a fantastic squad, so I suppose it would have been a little bit cheeky of me anyway to come away with 3 points. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with it, but I'm not as happy as I would have been with 3 points. But anyways, we have our next game, and it's against Chelsea. So if you remember last season, Chelsea are such a strong team. They literally give me so many goddamn problems. I really can't deal with them. And if you guys remember from last season, we actually have Luis Suarez, who has moved over to Chelsea. So we're going to be playing against him, hoping he doesn't score against us, but we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. And I think I managed to put Agar back into the squad. Yeah, he was out injured for 5 days, I think, playing with a bruised shoulder, so he wasn't actually able to play in that last game against Tottenham. I had to put Coates in there instead, which is kind of understandable. And you know, Coates does a good job. There's times, you know, like that Adebayor goal, I kind of want to hold him responsible for that. He didn't do well when it came to marking the players. But anyway, Sturridge cuts inside there very nicely, takes a beast of a shot. He just rocketed that against Peter Cech's hands. Fortunately, it just didn't have enough. It wasn't at enough of an angle. And again, a very similar thing. I cut back inside onto his left foot and he strikes, but this time he makes sure it counts. As in the 17th minute, we go 1-0 up. And against Chelsea, that is so key for me. Admittedly, this was a home game, so we weren't at Stamford Bridge or anything, but still, it was important that we did well, and I wanted 3 points against them. So Muniain does a great job of getting past the defender, turns David Luiz, and not many people can say you turn David Luiz like that. He is such a strong defender in FIFA 13, but he managed to do it. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to make it count, but still, this little stop and turn there, he fires it off. That would have been a really nice goal, because although it was a stop and turn, Muniain there was unfortunately not able to pass it on to Aubameyang and make it count. But still, I tried again. This time it pops up a little higher than usual and actually sets him up for a beautiful volley past Peter Cech, and that was a really nice goal from him. I don't know what it is, but for some reason Muniain's skill goals are skill moves are actually really quite poor. You know, he doesn't have very good ball control when it comes to stuff like that for whatever reason, and that's why the ball popped up so high. This time it actually came in my favor, but most of the times it's not actually that good, and I got really lucky with that Muniain goal. Unfortunately, we let the lead slip a little bit as Moses there picks up a goal. Some really actually quite solid defending there as I managed to clear it. Unfortunately, it didn't clear to one of my midfielders, but still, Chelsea were still getting the ball, and it seemed as though they were just getting really lucky with bounces and things just going their way all the time. A really nice little roulette there, and that is a wonderful goal. That was a really good goal from Hazard there. He actually crosses it onto Suarez's head, and Suarez scores a bit of a revenge goal, but we ended up getting the 3 points, and that's what matters. That shows Suarez he shouldn't have asked to leave. If you guys remember from the first season, he actually asked the club to leave. He didn't want to be here any longer. And you know what? Go screw yourself, man, because that there shows why you should have stayed at Liverpool. And we managed to beat them there, pick up 3 points, and this team is just on fire at the moment. We are still undefeated, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time before we end up losing, guys. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and if you have, then leaving a comment is very much appreciated, as well as a like and all that good shenanigans. Until then, guys, I'll see you in a bizzle. Bye-bye.